Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. This is Friday the 9th of April, and it's such a lovely day to be alive. Welcome to the show. If you are just joining us, we'd like to thank you for joining us. It's been a wonderful time indeed. And of course, it's going to be another great time today. We are having a short episode today, but it's also going to be a great one as well. And we're so excited whenever we come online because we come every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And we are always there. Yesterday, we were celebrating the 10th month anniversary of the show. And I believe that the comments that we got, the feedback has actually engineered and motivated, inspired us to do more. We're streaming from Lagos to Nigeria to West Africa to Africa and to the entire world. And of course, we believe that as you join us, you should tell us where you're joining us from. Tell us your name, tell us who you are, tell us what you do, tell us your location, tell us if it's your first time. We'd like to appreciate that. And of course, on the show, as we manage ourselves around the conversation, as we navigate the conversation of the day, please do not hesitate to ask questions. If you do have questions, do not hesitate to talk to us and share your thoughts on the subject matter of today. And it's going to be a great time today on the show. We're always coming to you every Monday to Friday, like I said, and we're joined by analysts on the show who share their views around the subject matter of the day within and around the world of education. And we get a lot to learn, share together, learn together, and like I usually say, ultimately grow together. Today is not going to be an exception. We're going to start by looking at the headlines and the news around within and around the world of education. We'll talk a bit about it. And like I said, we'll go straight to the meat of the matter, the conversation of the day. And I hope that we have more people join us as we do that. And then, of course, we take it up from there. Okay, so let's start with the first headline. And this has to do with the university matriculation exam, right? JAM postpones 2021 registration and gives details on next step. So if you have anyone who is in this situation, in this category, being affected, um, let them be informed that there's a guideline to what to expect. And of course, everybody should know that JAM has done it again. Okay, so that's for the UTME exams. Now, a very interesting news says that NGO donates learning items to blind pupils. That's correspondence from the Punch newspaper. And I think at this point in time, we would like to appreciate and celebrate the NGO for that remarkable feat. We need more and more people to continue, and the spirit of giving should not drop at all. There's a tendency that based on what is happening in society, based on the development challenges, based on a lot of things, we tend to seem to maybe feel discouraged. The morale might be quite low, but I believe that this is just keeping everyone, up their feet that look, we should not stop, we should still continue, and we should make the necessary impact that we can make in our own small corner. Well done to the NGO for making education more easier to access and experience for the blind children. Yeah. And then we have another headline on abduction. Abduction, threat to reducing out of school children. Obviously, that's coming from Action Aid. If we look at it, it's always been said that the out of school children in Nigeria is in millions. The figures keep changing, but I know that we're talking about nothing less than about close to 7 to 10 million. And this abduction, especially abduction of students from schools, would definitely maybe, well, not definitely maybe, would definitely affect, the registration or the enrollment or the staying in school. Because if school is not safe, or if school doesn't make you feel safe, then there's a risk factor that people might just say, you know what, let me keep my children at home, which is what the government is trying to say. It's almost like taking 4 steps forward, 6 steps backwards. And that's really not encouraging. That's a discouraging one. So we hope that the necessary authorities would, be able to have a solution to this in the shortest possible time. Ogun State Hall. Okay, Ogun Hall's donation of instructional material, right? That's a very good one. And then we want to say good morning to Eunice. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining. Okay, then we have another news from all the way from Ekiti State, I believe. And the Governor Fayemi, is in the news for this one. Fayemi seeks to revive reading culture. Fantastic. In the state, the governor is looking at how to improve the reading culture. All right. Then we also have Gombe. Gombe is in the news, guys. Gombe State is in the news. And Gombe State is seeking to modernize Almajiri education to make it appealing and attractive. And of course, to also factor some other things that need factoring. And finally, the list of private universities, that's private universities approved by the NUC, right? The University Commission has actually published a list of private universities, right? Private universities in the country. So that's a very good one as well. We believe that in a short time, we begin to see a lot of people get to know that. All right, so based on that note, we will move on to the conversation that we have for today. Bear in mind, I said today's show is going to be very short. It's going to be quick. And we're going to be broadcasting very quickly. So that's why we went on the headlines in a very quick manner, right? We need to understand that the topic is focused on teachers, but you can glean from the depth of application, and which says teachers have a life too. Teachers have a life too. And this topic is not just targeted at employers, but also targeted to the people who are the employees themselves. Because sometimes in some cases, we tend to hear that we don't have quality teaching, not because of qualification, but there's burnout. There's a lot of issue of not resting, too much load, workload, and all those things. But then the truth of the matter is that if teachers would have to tell themselves the truth, they need to realize that teachers have a life too. Teachers cannot go on an overdrive. It's not even required or expected for them to go on overdrive, because it has its own effect, which is sometimes negative. There's a place for going the extra mile and being resourceful, but there's also a place of management, which is called self-management, skill management. You need to manage yourself so that you can deliver and deliver continuously. Teachers have a life too. That's what we're talking about today. In what ways can teachers see this as a true statement? Sometimes a lot of people are knowing fully well that the education system is almost like round the clock, round the clock. Some people don't even have the opportunity to go for vacation, and the only vacation they have, they're already inspired to go back to the classroom or to have some um, extra extra manpower work. I remember last year I was sharing with a group of people that if there's anything the pandemic would have helped achieve for teachers, is the fact that some people had at least an opportunity to go for extended so-called leave because people could sleep and close early. Yes, people worked at home, but then they also had the opportunity to sleep. Ugochi, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Timmy. Thank you very much.
How are you? How much have you
I'm
raised?
very well, thank you.
How much have we raised? Situation room. Let's follow the
Um,
money.
okay, the last time I checked, it was $1,300 on the GoFundMe website and over 600,000 naira in the Zenith bank account. The last time I checked.
That's good. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. You'll be shocked that before Monday you cross the 2 million mark. Hello, are you there?
Hello, I said amen. Can you still
Oh,
hear me,
okay.
sir?
I can hear you now. The amen made me hear you.
Okay.
All right. So we're talking about teachers have a life too, and I know that you are a big time ambassador on subject matters like this. I remember our recent conversation. Our recent
Yes,
conversation.
so
So, what do you have to say to this? Teachers have a life too.
So, yes, I totally agree that teachers have a life because I believe that in order to be able to give our best to whatever we are doing, that ability to rest and have other aspects of our life aside work is very critical. If all we do is work, 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 it means that teachers are going to burn out and they're not be able to give their best. And it's not good for us to allow ourselves to get burnt out beyond repair, such that before we get built up, but before we recover, it takes a longer while. It's better if, as teachers go about their day to day work, they infuse things that recharge their energy, they avoid the things that drain their energy, they know how to relax and all those things incorporated into daily life or into weekly schedules so that even when they are beginning to get weak, those opportunities and things they are fit into their life keeps recharging them. As opposed to if they go, for example, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year without any of those things, when they really get burnt out, in order for them to recover to perform their tasks well, it might even take a whole month. It might even take 3 months. For some people, recovery now takes so much longer just because they were burnt out beyond control. And so that's why it's really important that when we say teachers have a life, they must begin to integrate things into daily life. What are the things that drain your energy? Okay, so for example, you know that if the children are rowdy and they're shouting, it drains your energy. How can you create a system in class such that if they are not even able to shout or get rowdy, is there a way activities can be arranged such that the chance to get rowdy doesn't even show up? So you've got to know, as at now, every teacher should know what drains their energy. Then you've also got to know what charges your energy. Could it just be that as little as having a really nice smelling candle in your workstation at home helps you to relax? Or that when you get home after school, you just have a cool bath, and spend some time just in the bathroom, just taking that. Or is it a power nap? You've got to know so that once you know what those things are, it's imputed into your daily and weekly and even monthly schedule so that you are able to revive yourself, after each when you begin to feel your battery going down, basically.
Thank you so much. I love that introduction. We must realize that life is called life. Life and work, they're not necessarily the same thing. We found out that a lot of people have made work life and life work. So it's like they forget that there are dimensions, and teachers must realize that. Welcome, Grace, and welcome, TTTITI. Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Welcome, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
You said I almost got it.
Good morning.
So we're talking about teachers have a life
Good
too.
morning. Good morning.
Yes, and Grace is the person I want to pass the baton to. Grace, what's your take on this topic?
Yeah, so everything Gochi has said, plus it's our responsibility really as teachers to choose to have a life. Because the truth is every other profession has what they struggle with in terms of workload. So I know we have like volumes of planning, administrative duties, and non-teaching tasks, and we want to feel like, the superheroes that are changing the world. But at the same time, if you cannot draw from an empty vessel, so we need to, like Ugochi said, know what can recharge us and just understand, be better planners essentially. So the point I'm making is like every other profession has what they're dealing with. I think it's time we start to really look into, because a lot of teachers believe that the workload is not manageable. So what can we do about it? It's not just about whining and complaining about, oh, the workload is really hectic. What are the ways that we can simplify these things? What are the routines that we can create around what we do? Instead of running away from technology, how can we use technology to make life easier for ourselves, make our work more efficient and effective? How can we collaborate with other teachers, and leverage on our strengths rather than, being intimidated by each other? So I believe it's time for us to just take that responsibility and say, how can we do better for ourselves? Because if we're not fine mentally, we cannot save that world that we want to save. If we're not, if our love tanks are empty, then there's nothing to give out. And it's important that we always have what to give out. And so that's basically it.
I love the way you put it. If we're not fine mentally, our work gets affected. Yeah. So our love tank, Grace, you mentioned our love tank. How do we get that love tank filled?
How we get our love tank filled? So like what she said, this
Why did
is
you
a
say
trap.
her?
Like
Is it
what
not
she
you that
said,
said the love tank? Yeah,
it's me that said it too.
I'm conversant with fuel tank.
Yeah, so exactly. So in a fuel tank, what you have inside is fuel. So like Ugochi said,
Yeah.
what are the things that recharge you? What are the things that help you function optimally? So you need to understand yourself, be aware of what makes you tire out and what makes you find your rhythm back, and then invest in
Okay.
things that help you to find your rhythm, and just keep feeling on it.
All right. At least
Yeah.
that one is not 165 naira per liter. So, Titi, welcome to the show once again. Teachers have a life too. I
Yes.
know that Titi is a practical person. That's if there's anything you want to know. Titi is a down to earth practical person. So, Titi, please, can you help us navigate that aspect? What practical ways can teachers, get to make this a reality for themselves?
As Safety Chick and Grace were talking, I'll just say, So I'm a teacher. I don't earn so much. So I need to, make the books balance, which means that after school, I'm doing private tutor for some other people. Uh, so I do that during the week, and I also do that on weekends. And then when the kids are on holiday, I'm also looking for, if the school is not doing summer camp, Easter camp, that we are all forced to be part of. I'm also looking for additional ways to earn money, just so that the books can balance. So, when I look at it practically, it's tough. It's tough for teachers to have a life. Also, when the term ends, how do I say, the term ends, but the teacher's term doesn't end. Because once, typically, when exams are over, the students go home. But that's when, most schools are then collating results, collecting exams, results, preparing the reports, preparing the bill so that it goes out quickly. And then maybe a week or two after, there's now the pre-resumption um, pre-resumption opening. The now comes again, prepare, come and do maybe put up things in your classroom, prepare your lesson plans. So even just the structure of the school system, in quote, doesn't seem to put for a lot of relaxation. So I think the first thing is that for school owners, how can they consciously realize the importance of the need for the balance, for the rest? I think that's the first thing I would say, such that they're not planning everything, planning everything for all the teachers to the last day. So what I mean is that when you think of lesson plans and all that, must everybody be involved? So that it's not as if there's some people are resting, some people are working during those periods. So that's the first thing I would say. Even coming from the school, how do you ensure that they are conscious of the need for teachers to recharge? The second thing I would say is that I heard of a school that they do all these teachers prizes. So they do like a fun day for teachers, and in that fun day there are interesting prizes that teachers can win. Some of those prizes are what we talked about, this rest. One of the prize the teacher was telling me about was that you can come late in one of the days. One of the prizes is
Wow.
that you have a day off. One of and she said, what? That was the prize that she wanted to win. The one that you can come late. Especially for schools that in Nigeria here, schools resume at 8. Some schools insist that the teachers need to be in school by 7:30. Some schools actually resume almost at 7:30 and insist that the teachers are in school by 7. So you can imagine what kind of gift that is to a teacher. So I think so what I'm just saying is that from a school's perspective, what are some of the things that they can do to within their own system to help the teachers rest? Another thing that I like that I see schools do is when they have a teachers fun day where the teachers just go to hang out. It's one of the things that I would like to encourage a lot of schools to do, where after the term and all that, they just go for a fun day. All the teachers, they go to the beach, they go somewhere to eat. I think it's something that the school should budget. They should budget in the school budget, and just a day for children, the teachers to hang out, not the end of year party that is more work for the teachers than than anything. No, just a day to hang out. So that's said it from the point of the school. I think from the life of a teacher and educator is that even as much as you want to make money, some of it you just need to let it go. For your sanity, for your body to heal, to restore, to recharge. So don't plan to make all the money. Do find periods of rest. Like Safety Chick said, find the best way that you rest. Sleep is very important, so you need to find a day where you just sleep. Last week, I had such a hectic week that on Friday, was it Friday? On Saturday, around 4, I just said, you know what, I'm feeling tired. Let me just lie down and take a little nap. I didn't wake up to the next day.
Whoa.
I'm telling you, this was at 4 p.m. I didn't wake up the next day. So what I'm just saying is that we all need to not plan our time to the end. For me personally, Sundays are usually my days to rest. I usually don't plan anything on Sundays. I do everything else during the week. I can plan things on Saturday, but Sunday for me is just a day not planned. And I think that's also important. A day that you have, preferably as weekly, that you just, everybody knows that that's just your day of rest. I really, really go out of my way not to do much on Sunday. Some days I'm there cooking, but some days I'm not. Some days I'm just charging, lying down my bed. I can be reading, I can be watching TV, but it's just typically a day for me to rest. Hanging out with my friends, hanging out with people, is also a way I relax. So I can do that on Sunday. But anything work related, I really don't want to do. So I think I've spoken for too long. Let me hand over to Ifyok, our last born.
Ifyok,
Hi, good morning, everyone.
about day.
Have fun. Good morning. Good morning, Titi. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ugochi. And is that Fee? No, that's Grace.
No,
Okay, good morning,
Grace.
So
Sorry.
Ifyok has a
Okay.
life too. So tell us about teachers having a life too.
Oh my goodness, this topic. Where do I start? I'm just joining, so I don't know where and how far you guys or what you've talked about before.
Okay, so we've
So
had introductions, we've had examples. I want you to come from the provisions, especially like Titi said. There's a consciousness that has to happen where people should not necessarily just plan everything out and leave no room for self or for rest or for leisure and those things. You could also share some practical ways to make this happen without necessarily dropping the ball of work.
Okay. All right, so let me start from the individual, like, the teacher. I think it's first having that consciousness that um you are, how do I put this? You're a human being, okay? And this, let me put it like my mother would say to me at some point. She say, look, this work no be your papa work. Even if na your papa work, you no go die on top your papa work. So she says that to me often because I can really like overwork myself when it comes.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I thought it was my network.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened. All right. Is Ifyok done? I guess our network is down. All right. So Grace, do you want to take up on that as well? Because obviously, pandemic, the restructuring of work, and all that. It's even looking like the workload has increased, even with the hybrid structure of learning and all that. What do you think can be the best approach
Okay, yeah,
to,
so I
to explore?
okay, yeah, so I hear everyone, and of course I'm for schools looking into how they can help. But then I would always come from like a teacher's perspective to say that what can I do for myself? Because the truth is I'm responsible for myself before we have the kind of ideal world that we think that we deserve. What are the things that I can do for myself and my colleagues as well to ensure that we're we're living like wholesome lives? um One of the things that I do personally, we have this cell clusters where we just hang out, and we make sure that it's not just like at the end of the term. It could be like twice in a month where we just go and talk, because sometimes like you're just looking for that validation that, oh, you're the days that you go to school and you feel like killing someone's child, like those feelings
Hey,
are valid. No, no, sorry. Okay, maybe it's not that deep, but there are days that you just feel like, like after sweating and teaching this thing with all my energy, like you've done so much research, and you are ready to just go and kill it. But then you get to school and you deliver that lesson and you realize it's them that want to kill you. You just want that community to say that we understand what you're feeling, not we understand, how this feels.
somebody please call
Um,
911.
Calm
no
down.
need to call
Hashtag
911.
calm down. Calm down.
So for me, just having conversations and letting that steam out helps. Comedy also helps me. Reading a book. I don't joke with my hobbies. The other time we talked about hobbies and all of that. So I think that's another very good way that teachers can consciously put this into their weekly schedules. Because if we wait till end of term or the end of year for all these nice things to happen, like you're just going to keep burning out and the cycle continues. But how can I every day like just keep being refreshed? What Mr. Dewusi said about like reducing the workload from teacher to teacher. So if I have strengths in a certain area, I can help my colleagues in those areas. If they have strengths in those areas as well, like we can help each other out. And that's what I meant when I said leveraging each other's strengths. So if I don't have a strength in a particular area and there's someone that can help me with it, like I'm all for it too. Like I will gladly, accept help. So we need to learn to accept help as well, and not feel like you're lazy or you're not doing the most when you're asking for help. So I feel like those are basically the ways, collaboration, and then having a routine that works. Yeah, so those are basically talking with a friend, just basic things that you can do every day or at least every week.
All right. Thank you so much. I also want to interject at this point that we need to also encourage people to explore. In some climes, I noticed that there are things that we've crammed up into the school calendar and school system that is actually unbundled as individual businesses or individual services as well. Take for example, I know that there are places where you have math lab, like a mathematics lab, which takes more or less the burden of the tutoring dynamics. So people go there. You have ballet studios. People also can actually go to ballet studios, and get the best out of it. We have people who could also, so at that point, it just makes it instead of you that you are teaching, no. So most likely Grace is teaching literature in English. She's also in charge of the ballet extracurricular club. All these things put so much burden, and especially when it's not a natural gifting, it's not something you're skilled in, you're certified in, the pressure of performance intensifies, it increases on that individual. And I think that it's just for us to begin to look at things in a different way, to to see the problem of teachers not having a life as the problem of some industries that need to evolve within the education space. Holidays are not really a cultural thing to us. We need to start thinking of how that can be modeled, and that can also help to inspire people. Ifyok is back. Ifyok, are you back now?
Yes, I'm back. And oh my goodness. Is
So
there an
share with
echo?
us your thought. No, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, so I guess I was still speaking all the while and I had no idea I was cut off. And so one of the things I was saying is schools have a role to play in ensuring that the teachers have a soft landing, especially when they come in newly into a setting, and also that the teachers' welfare, the teachers are catered for throughout the stay or the tenure of their employment in the setting. And one of those things that I feel we can do more is with regards to understanding every teacher or individual, having a system or a structure that can understand or try to understand what every teacher or individual is going through. So, one of the ways we can do that is peer-to-peer coaching and mentoring within the system, within this the organization. Such a I'll take it for an example of where I am now. Um, we have something we call peer buddies, who is someone higher than you or someone you just choose. So when you join the setting, we pair you with someone who will be like a body to you throughout your stay. And every year we change bodies so that if you have a major challenge, you have someone to talk to within the organization, so that even if you have pressures or pressures coming in to a setting, you can have someone to go to. You have that secure base. Um uh you may not be able to go to talk to the manager or to the highest personnel, but then you have a colleague. And Grace mentioned something earlier on about collaboration, leaning on each other's strengths. This is very important because no man is an island, and there is definitely somebody who knows more than you do, and there's definitely someone who knows less than you do. So I think it's meeting each other in the middle and seeing how, as teachers, we can carry everyone along. Now, there's a lot of competition, wanting to outshine another and do all of that. But I think that happens when the organization does not carry individuals along with the collective goal to say, okay, this is where we're headed. So, with regards to teachers being able to function well within and out of the setting in their individual lives and in their professional lives, I think that where they are has a big role to play. Yeah, I think that's about it for now.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I would like to ask this question. If we were to place things like in order of priority, or if we were to do like a wish list or an item, what would you
Yeah.
recommend? I'll start with you. Ifyok, I'm going to TT, safety ticket, and then Grace. What would be your number one item that you would propose or recommend for teachers to? So when you're talking about how teachers have a life, what would be that number one thing?
Oh. All right. Is this a wish list?
No, not for yourself. You guys, you can't get me today. Not for yourself.
Okay. Honestly, from the perspective of a teacher, one day off, just one day off. That's all I ask. I tell you, just
One day
one day
off.
off.
Mm,
You know, it's
mm.
precious. It is precious. I tell you.
Okay.
Rotimi, that is my exact response. Honestly, if you took the words right out of my mouth, just a, time to rest. I'm serious. You know,
Just one day off.
I'm a volunteer teacher. I volunteer on Sundays in church. The only thing that keeps me going, is the fact that the next Sunday I'm not going to be there. So it's that
When I was saying it
you're
the other day, that I cannot teach for long. Only that short
you know
one I do is look, I can't do day to day. Those that do day to day, they have a different grace.
do you understand? So we do like a 2 weeks
Mm,
on and 2 weeks off kind of thing. And it can, so
okay.
you in a month you only work 2 Sundays. That's the only thing that has kept me doing it for this long, and that's the only thing that keeps me saying, okay, after I put on my energy, after I'm so exhausted, I know that okay. So I agree with Ifiok when I say it's that just that time off, and when your school is conscious of the fact that they're not planning that thing to the T, and you yourself are not planning. The internet has.
Check the network now.
Oh, we
can
can
still
hear
hear
Okay,
you, man.
you.
so let's
We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. So that's it. That's it. Go ahead.
all right. So thank you so much. Ugochi, what's your own take on that?
Um, I like what Ifiok mentioned about one day off. And you see, I think that sometimes even when schools even give some people off, because we're not putting this blame now on only schools, the teachers themselves. Some teachers want to. In fact, it's not just even a teacher thing, because I remember I used to work somewhere and somebody had just gone through a traumatic experience on the job. And part of the rules for traumatic experience, based on my recommendation after the last one, was that you need to take that person out of the work setting so that they can calm down and relax so
Yes.
that they don't make a mistake when
Yes.
performing their job.
Yes.
Because the person that was involved in this situation was supposed to work weekend, and weekend has an extra pay. She said that they should wait, let her do her weekend and collect the money. Then by Monday she can now start taking the break. Can you so it's not just a teacher thing, it's also that as individual, when you are now giving the break, will you use the break to rest, or you pack all the work in the world and
Thank
put inside?
you. Thank you. Hmm.
Yes, so that's another thing. So
Yeah.
again, I believe that teachers need to take responsibility. When they say
So,
rest, please rest. You move on. You
so
sometimes you
So,
don't even know how tired you are
Ugochi,
until you
what
actually
will be
rest.
your own? What will be your own?
Yes, sir.
That one thing. So they've mentioned a day off, right? What would be your recommendation
For teachers or for my own self.
for teachers?
Sleep. Sleep. Your body does a lot for you when you are
yes,
sleeping.
yes, yes, I agree.
Honestly, sleeping looks
I
so
agree.
simple, but sleeping is so powerful. Sleeping is so
See,
powerful. I've
I
seen how
agree.
sometimes when
I
I'm
agree.
working and then I feel tense, I feel so much pressure, I just take a nap. When I wake up, I'm energized to go for the next how many hours. So sleep might look like it's not just sleep. Your body is resting. There's a lot of work going on in your system and you are refreshed. If you wake up and you're still
And you're
tired,
connecting with
there's
the
something,
spiritual.
there are issues.
Safety chicks.
See, that
Sorry, please, just
honestly,
had to
honestly,
add
let
that,
me let
Abby.
yes, Ugochi, let me say something there. You
Yeah,
know what
please
I
go
used to
ahead.
do before? Yes, you know what I used to do before the Good Morning Education show came into my life? Hmm? I
Eh?
would take
Mm.
away. Yes, I would take.
If young.
Yes, sir. I would take. I would take my break. My break is at 11 o'clock, 11 to 12, 1 hour, and then I would go put my head down and literally sleep, or I get into my car and I sleep for
Hmm.
45 minutes, and I wake up and get back into class. That's what I used to do.
Good one.
I tell you. So
That's a
it's
good
one
one.
thing, it's one thing to take the teacher out of the workplace, but it's another thing to take the work out of the teacher. I tell you,
Deep, deep,
That
because
is
deep.
so.
no,
If
say
you're,
I should have joined this
if
show
you're,
on time. That way, now the spirit is just on me. You know what I'm saying? So
You know,
it's one thing. It's one. It's one thing to take the work out of take the teacher out of the workspace, but in your head, in your mind, what's going on? I tell you, I have teachers who go on break and they're busy cutting things for arts and crafts. The teachers go on break and you're busy doing your lesson plan for the next week. You go on break and everything you're doing has nothing to do for yourself. Even the lunch you come with, you're doing something and you can hardly even eat. So it's honestly, this is a responsibility that teachers need to take up on themselves. Sorry, my voice is like, gone. But take yourself out of work and take the work
take work
out of
out
yourself.
of you.
That's
Whoa,
it.
whoa, 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 whoa. I'm screaming.
Mr.
Um,
Rotimi.
Table breaker, Grace, Basbos Grace, hashtag Jam Grace. What do you have to say?
So everything everyone has said really, but then it still comes back to, if they give us this 1 day break, will we take it, or it will be another opportunity to cram other money making ventures in it? And that's the truth about it. So it will now take us back to, teacher welfare. For me, my number one thing would then be better work environments for yourself, and then within the schools that we work, such that the pressure is taking. There are times that school owners are putting pressure on, meeting certain deadlines that are not really necessary, but just to feel like, oh, we're working and we're like the number one school, like there's just a lot of pressure to deliver on things that can actually slide. So I would say just make the work environment more friendly and more relaxing, such that every day is lighter than it is now. Yeah, that would basically be it for me. And then as a teacher as well, what are the ways that you can help yourself create that environment that just helps you to thrive and takes away the pressure from you? Because if they give us 1 day, the truth is we're not going to use the 1 day to rest. I can tell you for free. A lot of us, so if you could rest for that 1 day, but 90% of teachers, I can tell you,
Grace,
I can
Grace,
tell
what
you,
would Grace do if they gave Grace 1 day? What would Grace do? If you could rest,
I'm
what would Grace do?
what will Grace do? I cannot lie, I'm not going to use it to rest. I'd rather find my 10 minutes every day to just meditate and recalibrate than
What
an
would
entire.
you
I won't
do?
rest
What
for
would
an
you
Wow.
entire
meditate,
day.
calibrate, concentrate, to elevate? What would you do?
I'll use it to
sorry
plan
to
the
be
future of
honest.
my
So
children now.
uh, I will sleep.
I trust. I know that we have a sleeping committee in this
I will
place.
sleep.
I don't know who is the grand commander between TT, Safety Tick and Mayfield. you have to master the business of your talent.
When I was
Ugochi is
juggling
already
my work
doing
at the airline,
6G during
when I
sleep.
was juggling my work in the
Listen,
airline
listen.
and doing this work in safety, I would return from my flight in the evening, and I knew that I still needed to do some work for safety chief, right? And I had to fly again the next day. So I would go to bed. I would sleep for about 2 to 3 hours. Then I would wake up, work for maybe another 3 to 4 hours into the early hours of the morning, and then I'm able to get back and take another short nap before I have to go to work or something. And it helped because I was juggling two different things. So somehow I knew I cannot die in the process. So I still had to rest. So that sleep thing, it has worked for me, and I know it will work for everybody because there's medical proof that sleep helps. There's medical
Uh,
proof. Yeah.
yeah, I'm a testimony.
Topic to
Yeah.
explore that sleep thing. That sleep thing. That's lifting. You know, sometimes the challenge will not be if you've been on overdrive for a long time and you now choose to sleep. To now get sense back might be a problem.
You will knock out totally. You will knock
So
out.
I
Like
remember some years
See,
that's
ago,
what
it's
some
like
years
happened
it's
to
ago.
like
Mr.
you're
James, you
practicing to
know.
die.
That slept at 4 p.m. and woke up the next day. It has happened to me.
Yes.
So I worked on a project some years ago, and it was third week of August till November 1st. We had trainings every Friday to Sunday, every Friday as a full day. In between, I was managing a project that I was communicating with people outside the country at different time zones. So I was working as I pushed my limits to the point where I literally used to drag air little by little. So if you ask me a question, I would have to process to respond, not because I didn't know the answer, but
We're
if it
good.
wasn't, if you're not telling me, if you're not asking me deep stuff, I can't answer surface question like, okay, how you feel? I have to think about that. So
How
okay,
am
I'm
I
fine.
doing?
You know. Then when the project ended and everything shut down, there was nothing to do. They said everybody should go and rest. That project ended December, so it was strange. I didn't know when Christmas came and left, and then when it was January, I couldn't think. You know, when all that deep. So everybody just sit you in the meeting. That what you mean? Need you know you have that? They just ask. I don't believe the words are in my head, but it's not. My mouth is not opening. I will call friends and let's hang out. And then they're there, they'll say, oh, I talk now. I say, be talking for me. Because there was an extreme, I had checked myself. I was not different. It
So
took about a month plus before it was until February. I lost the project in that process because it was like I was overhyped when I was referred. And the people felt like the guy referred to us doesn't know anything. It was until February ending that my ginger came back.
wow.
So I had lost that job. I
Your
lost
ginger
that
came back.
retention because
You see, this
I was,
this is what I
yeah,
was explaining earlier. Yeah, this is what I was explaining earlier, that when we don't schedule breaks in daily life or weekly, when it compounds, by the time the effect hits us, it takes a longer time to recover.
Time.
As opposed
Yeah.
to if we were doing something small every day, every week, it helps. Imagine now, Mr. Rotimi now lost that deal. Anyway, no problem. We'll get more deals. But
no, that was then. This is now. What God cannot do does not exist.
it doesn't.
At this point, we're
Wait,
calling it a day.
Mr. Rotimi, what would you do with how about you? What would you do with like an extra day off?
I'm not a
Would
teacher.
you even take an extra day off?
An extra day off. Why
Like,
not?
would you take a day off, or what would you do then?
I'll drink tea and watch and watch. I'll drink tea. Maybe 50 liters keg of tea.
Of tea.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm actually off for a vacation today till Sunday.
Woo! Okay. Sorry.
How can that be a vacation? Sunday. That's not vacation. That's normal weekend for most of us.
Going somewhere.
He's got like a vacation. Where is he going? Like, Mr. Rotimi, where are you going?
Going to island
Hello?
beachfront kind of stuff.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you.
we can hear you now.
Sorry, about the network. All right, so at this point in
Yeah.
time, we will have to end the show.
But Mr. Rotimi, you were to tell us where you're going for vacation.
No, matter of national security. I can't tell you. Okay, it's like a Pine Tropicana. It's actually not a vacation for me, like Titi said. It's work. So it's those who are coming that are coming for the vacation. But it's a good change of environment, at least fresh air. I'll drink some hot tea by the beach and get inspired for the new week. All right. So at this point, we'll say goodbye. So, ladies, take it off.
It's
It's
always a
always
great
a
morning.
great morning
Great
on the
morning on the
Good
Good
Morning
Education
Education
Show.
Show.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.